Hello students, so in this video I'll be discussing CM2 B examination paper of September 2020. Again I'll say the same thing, the solutions are best and true to my knowledge. If you find there is any error, you can inform us in the comment section of this video. Also I'll be discussing comments are not exhaustive. You can obviously have your own choice of comments and final answers will be published by IFoA though. So you can just calculate the marks on that basis obviously. Okay. So starting with the first question, an insurance company sells an investment linked product with a term of 10 years. The product attracts a guarantee such that the return in each year will be no less than 3%. The guarantee is valued using simulation techniques. You have been given 100 simulations of annual returns on the underlying investments for each of the next 10 years. So consider an investment of 100 at time 0. Calculate for each simulation the value of investment at maturity, ignoring the guarantee. So ignoring the guarantee. So this is the question 1 data which has been given to us, simulation, and we need to, part 1 says calculate the value of the guarantee. So value of investment before guarantee, whatever the person is getting. So these are obviously the data is for I need to first calculate 1 plus I for each year. So I have calculated 1 plus the data for each of the 10 years. Okay, and then if you see, it is just a product of this into 100, okay, which is the final answer. 1 plus each year it gets accumulated. For the second one, it is said the value of investment at maturity allowing for guarantee. So guarantee says that if any interest is less than 3%, the person will get 3%. Anything more than that, obviously he will get more than that. So here obviously we have done a U5 to D5. So if you see, I have done a calculated a value for guarantee, which is says 1 plus max of data comma B7 or 3%, okay, or the 3%. So whatever is the maximum of these two, or you can write if it is less than 3%, then obviously give 3%, otherwise the higher of the value. Both will work, okay, any of the two, and then again the product of the entire thing into 100, you will get the value of this. And the value of the guarantee at maturity, obviously what is the difference between the two will be the guarantee between the two, okay. Once you get this, now they have said that calculate the expected present value of the guarantee determined in part 1 discounted to time 0 at a compound rate of 2%. So if you see, this is compounded to 2%. So I have taken an average of the guarantee into 1 plus 2% to the power minus 10. Okay, so this is the expected value of the guarantee at time 0. Okay, then suggest an alternative approach the insurer could use to value the guarantee, commenting on whether the value is likely to be the same. So my alternative approach would be a maybe a deterministic approach where he gets a guaranteed 3% interest, a risk-free rate of 3% interest, and any other points if you want to add, you can add. Okay. For the next question says, if you have been given the expected return on 3 securities, 1, 2 and 3, the variance and the covariance matrix for these securities. You have also been given the weights invested in each of these securities in 5 portfolios A to E. The portfolios are made up only of these 3 securities and no other assets are held. Calculate the expected return and the variance of each of the 5 portfolios A to E. So if you see, these had been given to us: security 1, security 2, security 3 and so on. Market returns, all this has been given to us. Portfolio A, B, C, D, E weights, that is XA, XB and XC is also given to us. And now you just need to calculate. So for part 1, we have XA into RA plus XB into RB plus XC into RC. Okay, and for variance I have taken XA square into variance of A plus XB square into variance of B plus XC square into variance of C, if you see, plus 2 into XA into XB into covariance of AB plus 2 into XB into XC plus covariance of BC and 2 into XA into XC plus covariance of AC. Okay, so these are the all the values which we have got, and just drag these all down. So for you will get the values of all the returns and the variances. For question 2 part 2, now they have said plot the expected returns and variances you calculated in part 1 in EV space. So EV space is expected return and variance space, if you see, and you can see this is a portfolio which is being formed. Okay, you can join the dots, you can either not join the dots because this is not forming a type of efficient portfolio. These are different portfolios which are there. So this is the type of graph which you will get. The only major thing is expected return on the y-axis and variance on the x-axis has to be there. And they said determine with reasons whether any of the 5 portfolios are efficient or inefficient. So you see an inefficient portfolio is one where we cannot find any other portfolio with lower variance or same having higher return, or with a higher return having the same variance. So portfolio B, someone is efficient because it gives the same return as A but a higher variance than A, and portfolio D is also inefficient because it gives the same variance as E but lower expected return than E. Okay, if you see from these two, so variance is same but the return is lower. Here the return is same but the variance is higher for B. Okay, so these two may be inefficient. Also, now next there is a consider new portfolio F. The investments is a mix of only security 1 and security 3. Short selling is not allowed. So there is no short selling. XA has to be greater than 0. Calculate the proportion of the portfolio invested in each of the securities 1 and 3 that minimizes the variance of the portfolio return. So again you have to calculate. So what we will do, we have assumed, say I assume for if you see I have taken the values, here is the value. You can use solver also, you can use directly this formula also, that variance of 3 minus covariance of 1 comma 3 divided of variance of 1 plus variance of 3 minus 2 into covariance of 1 comma 3 will give me the security 1 value. Okay, and similarly 1 minus this will give me the security 3's value, and then you can calculate the expected return and the variance according to this formula. Once you have used solver also, will get the correct answer. Once you have used this formula also, will get the correct answer. Any of the case will do. And for comments, if you see that the variance and the expected return, the variance is lower in this case, the expected return is higher. So one will see that this is an efficient portfolio due to diversification. Okay. Next is calculate the expected. This is done directly, and comment on the whether the variance in relation to variances of security 1 and 3. This also been, you have been provided with past data on annual return on the market portfolio and the annual return on asset X in a market with the assumptions of the capital asset pricing model hold. Calculate the value of beta for the asset X based on the historic data. So for historic data, these are the two returns which have been given to you. We know the beta formula is covariance of market by asset divided by beta of the market. So that is only with covariance of P by variance of P, and we get a value of 1.43. Okay. Next is question 3. A bank offers 3 saving products to customers: a cash account paying interest at a guaranteed rate of 4% per annum, an investment product that tracks an equity index, and a hybrid product that gives a guaranteed minimum return of 3% per annum plus half of any excess return on the index above 3%. For example, if the return on the equity index is 5%, product C will give a return of 3% plus half into 5% minus 3%. This formula is given to you. You have been given a distribution of 1-year return on the equity index in the spreadsheet, and the investor plans to invest 1000 in each of the products A, B and C at time t equal to 0 to be withdrawn after 1 year. Calculate the mean and variance of the portfolio of value investment at time t equal to 1. So this is the return and the probability which is given to us. So for a risk-free portfolio, for cash account, just 1000 into 1 plus 4% to the power 1. For equity tracker, we have been given the equity return and the portfolio. So 1 plus some product of equity return into probability into and into 1000 to the power 1. And for a hybrid case, we have been given the formula. So we will put the formula that if our return is less than equal to 3%, then we will get 3%. Otherwise, we will get this formula that 3% plus this minus 3% into 0.5, which has been given in the question. Okay. Once this is done, then again you will calculate here again the same thing, 1 plus rate into probability into 1000 to the power 1. So this gives me the hybrid's mean. For the variance of this is again this for cash account, the variance is 0 obviously because there is no variability over here. For equity tracker, it is, we will calculate the variance over here. So once you have calculated the return, this is accumulated to 1 year, 1000 into 1 plus I. Then you calculate 800 minus mean to the power 2 into probability, and then sum of this will give me the variance. And similarly the variance for the equity track for the hybrid account also, you calculate the variance, your return into 1 plus I, and then variance is equals to return minus mean to the power 2, x minus mu to the power 2 into probability, and then sum of this entire thing will give me the variance of this two. Okay, so this was my first part. Calculate the downside semi-variance return for each of the investor. For the downside semi-variance of return for each investor is, if you see, first we'll calculate for, again for the cash account variance is 0, so downside semi-variance will be 0. For equity account, again first we'll calculate, the return is already calculated. Now if this return is less than the variance, this is less than the mu, sorry, is less than the expected return which we calculated, then obviously we'll use the formula x minus mu whole square into probability, otherwise give me 0. Similarly for here also, if the return is less than equal to mu of the calculated value, the expected return, then it is return minus mu ka whole square into probability, otherwise it is 0. Okay, once you calculate downside semi variance for this, sum of both of these two will give me the downside semi variance. Okay, and for part 3, the investor uses a utility function of UW is equals to W minus 0.003 W square. Calculate the expected utility of each investment at time t equal to 1. So for time t equal to 1 at each investment, first for cash account directly you can put the values, that is 1000 minus 0. Wealth is directly there. For equity tracker obviously we need to calculate, so again wealth will again get accumulated for 1 year as it is said. Then you can calculate the utility for 1 year, what it is getting, and then the sum product of utility and probability will give me the equity tracker's expected utility. And for the hybrid also we'll do the same thing. Return is there, probability, the rate we have calculated already from that formula which is there. Wealth again this into 1 plus I which is there, and utility is nothing but again in the formula. And once you put this hybrid account, you get this here. So from the 3, if you see, for the first part we have the maximum minimum mean in minimum variance in 563, and the maximum return in B. For this we have the again minimum in minimum variance in C, and for third part also minimum variance in A. So for all the 4 parts, if you see it's saying explain by measures in part 1, 3 give different answers, which can be the best solution to the investor. So for part 1, product B gives the highest return as it also carries the highest risk. Product with low variance are preferred and therefore this less. Part 2, we can see that for downside semi variance for A is 0, which is the minimum. Okay, and part 3, the expected utility of C is the highest. So for all the three different answers is coming. C is the best product as it maximizes the utility of the customer. Even with slightly lower variance, it can help to gain higher utility due to lower risk. Okay, then we were told just to draw the graph of the 3 for product B for all the things. So yeah, for a plotted pie chart for utility of product B for equity returns. So you calculated the utility, just equity returns on x-axis, utility on the y-axis. Part 6 was again a comment on your chart in part 5 if your investor's utility function exhibited constant relative risk aversion, logarithmic graph, and you can just define how it would have been logarithmic, and if it was risk neutral then it would be a linear graph. Okay, so pretty direct paper. There was not much comments also which were very difficult to answer, and pretty direct calculations of the values. Formulas are also given. Yes, again if any discrepancies found, please inform us in the comment section. Also do like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Thank you.